And we're live from the Ewood Park press box. Stuart Watson here, back at Blackburn for take 2 of September's abandoned game here. Thankfully, a lot drier this time. A yellow weather warning was in place over the weekend for East Lancashire. We feared the worst, that it was going to happen again. Very wet here yesterday, but thankfully it's dried out today. And it's a dry, clear evening here, so no concerns about finishing this game tonight, thankfully. Let's have a little chat about the team news in a minute. I'm just going to wait for a few more of you to join us. I can see a few coming in. Good few comments coming in. Shane there, good evening Shane. Take 2 of Ipswich Town here at Blackburn. You won't need reminding what happened last time around. Ipswich down to 10 men when Jacob Greaves got sent off for hauling down the last man, a bit of a clumsy challenge. Then went 1-0 down. Darnell Furlong gave away a penalty running across the heels of Todd Cantwell in the box. Cantwell, ex-Norwich, of course, dusted himself down, scored it. And then the second half got increasingly farcical. It had been a wet day in Lancashire throughout. The rain, then the heavens just completely opened and it became a bit of a joke, really. And then finally, the referee called it to a halt in the 80th minute when Cedric Kipre's pass just stopped dead in a puddle. And we had some frankly silly scenes with the referee coming out and plopping the ball in a puddle, and it had to stop, didn't it? It just got too dangerous. But Blackburn not happy about the decision. It took the EFL 5 days to finally come to the decisions for a complete reset and replay. The rules were pretty flaky about what happened next. Both clubs had to put their cases forward. Blackburn manager Valerian Ismail called it a disgrace. Kieran McKenna said it was the only decision, quickly ruled out any notion of Ipswich giving Blackburn back any sort of advantage going into this one. And here we are, ready for the rematch. You would imagine the home crowd are going to be fired up by a bit of a sense of injustice, although it's pretty empty inside Ewood Park at the moment. 7:20, kick-off at 7:45. I know it's still quite early, but it does feel very empty inside here at the moment. Blackburn not been good at home this season. They've been okay away from home. They're 18th in the table, but they've only won once here at Ewood Park in all competitions. So we'll see what the mood likes inside here. The away end is starting to fill up. Saw quite a few at service station on the way up on the M6 toll. I believe about 2,500 Ipswich fans here today, which is quite remarkable for a cold early December midweek off the back of 2 away games, of course, with Hull and Oxford in the last few days. It always blows me away, the travelling Blue Army and the support that they give. Right, let's address the Ipswich team for tonight, because, as usual, this season it's created a hell of a debate. And I've got Ian Wallbank here. Good evening, Ian. Thank you for joining me. Ian says, I don't know what's wetter, the conditions in the first game or tonight's team selection, which tees up this debate quite nicely, Ian. Thank you. Yeah, 5 changes for Ipswich tonight, which is no great surprise, really. We're becoming accustomed to this mass rotation under Kieran McKenna, Ipswich Town 2.0. The squad was built to have like-for-like quality in most positions. Kieran McKenna feels it's best to fully utilise that amidst a busy championship schedule, that it will enable his team to stay happy, to stay fresh. The counter argument, of course, is that chemistry and relationships is unable to build, and I still feel, I think general consensus is we're a third of the way in, and we're yet to see a team that's fully clicked or really convinced, even during decent runs of results. So 5 changes again tonight. Probably the biggest surprise is at right back. Ashley Young comes in for Darnell Furlong. Darnell Furlong has been fine. He's been solid. That is the best way to describe his start to life at Ipswich since making that move from West Brom. Ashley Young, veteran, 40-year-old fullback, played plenty of games for Everton in the Premier League last season, not been involved that much. This is his first start tonight since the 3-0 home defeat to Charlton. I did wonder when he came on for a little cameo at Oxford on Friday and then was put up for press post-match, and he talked about, I want to play more. I'm not just come here to be a good dressing room guy, I've come here to play. I did wonder if that was if that was a bit of a precursor to him starting tonight, and start he does. So we'll see how that goes. One area that hasn't rotated is at left-sided centre-half. It's been Kipre Greaves for the last few weeks, but Kipre keeps his place. Tonight I thought Greaves might come in, but he doesn't. Kipre keeps his place. Midfield stays the same. Matasiwa and Taylor again. That's because Jens Kajusta isn't fully fit after that ankle injury he sustained at Hull just before half-time. Jens is back on the bench tonight as AJ joins me in the press box. And the other changes, the 4 other changes, are at the top end of the pitch. The front 4 all change once again, something again we're becoming accustomed to. So that means, let me get this right, Sindre Valette-Ageli, Marcelino Nunez, Jaden Philogene and George Hurst all drop out, and in comes Casey McAteer, Chuba Akpom, Jack Clark and even Azon. Your thoughts? I've had a little look on the Ipswich Town announcement post on X. Universally disliked, it almost seems. Some of it a bit OTT for me. We'll get our teeth into it once I've got a few thoughts from you. Adam there, surprised Ashley Young is starting. Yeah, well, I say surprised. I'm kind of half wondered, but whether it's the right decision tonight, I don't know. Woody here, ridiculous amount of changes. I don't have a great deal of confidence about tonight's game. I shall be watching with one eye open. Frenchie here, Blackburn's direct 3-5-2 has all the hallmarks of a town side, of a side that Town struggle to play against. Yeah, front 2s, back 3s have been a bit of an issue at times. Paul here, I'm guessing 62 shots, 3 on target. That's pretty much a flavour of what I'm reading from people at the moment. Not convinced about the starting lineup, not convinced about the way Ipswich Town are playing. My thoughts on the lineup, it's mixed feelings at the moment, because I think one of the things that really held Ipswich back in the Premier League last season, beyond the obvious of established Premier League clubs having better players and deeper squads, etc., was that Ipswich never could get any kind of chemistry going. And that a lot of that was down to injuries with Calvin Phillips and various others continually having sort of setbacks. And I thought this year was a chance to get back to being that sort of band of brothers known team. I can see the thinking behind wanting to utilise a squad and how over 46 games, especially at this time of year, where the games come thick and fast, it can give you a competitive edge. And we'll see if that's the case tonight. Blackburn unchanged, by the way. They played on Saturday, so they've had a day less to recover. They were at Wrexham. They drew 1-1 there. Wrexham got a very late goal, a stoppage time equaliser. Ipswich were at Oxford, of course. So 24 hours extra, to not quite 24 hours, but a day essentially extra to recover for Ipswich tonight, and a fresher team as well. So that should mean that, you know, they look the fresher side tonight. We'll see if that transpires. But yeah, I mean, in terms of this selection tonight, what have I got issues with? Part of me, I felt like Greaves is unfortunate to come back in. He started the last 2 wins and had played well in those. Thought he might come back in. I thought he probably deserved to come back in. But on the next breath, I'm not a fan of this centre-half rotation by any means. And he's stuck with the same centre-half. So guess you can't have a cake and eat it in that respect. And then Ashley Young, is that a case of just trying to keep people happy? Is that the right thing for the team, or is that just because you're trying to go out of your way to keep Ashley Young happy? I don't know how Ashley Young's been doing in training. He might have been looking really sharp. Maybe he feels that having that bit more experience behind Casey McAteer will help him tonight. I don't know. Not overly keen on that change tonight. We'll see how Ashley Young goes. Front 4, I haven't got as many issues with. Jaden Philogene and Sindre Valette-Ageli, I thought were very underwhelming at Oxford on Friday night. Jaden looks like someone who's scored a few worldies this season. Is oozing confidence, maybe a bit too much confidence, because at times he tries to do too much on his own. I thought Oxford, double, triple marked him at times, and he ran into corridors. He was a bit lightweight. And he didn't do, he wasn't too effective at Oxford. Likewise, Sindre Vologeli, who, had a couple of big chances in the first half. Certainly the one that he passed wide of the post. Didn't pull up any trees at Oxford, so I don't think there can be too many complaints about that. I know Casey McAteer's got a bit of heat on him at the moment with the way he started to life at Ipswich, but I see signs of him being more of the Wes Burns type in terms of a pacey, direct line runner. The cross that he put in for Azon late on at Oxford was a really good one. And he's probably more suited to an away game like this with the counter-attack threat and also the extra defensive work he does compared to Sindre. Certainly at Hull last Tuesday, he put in a real good shift almost as a right wing back in that game, and he'll have to do that again tonight. So no issues with the two wingers changing. Nunez and Hurst coming out for Akpom and Azon. Hurst and Nunez have started the last two games, Hull and Oxford, and that is a high intensity role that both of them play, pressing high at the top end of the pitch. Two big high intensity games, or three high intensity games on the horizon that McKenna's talked about. Home to Coventry on Saturday, home to Stoke next Wednesday, then away to Leicester. I think that will be them dipping out tonight is as much about those three games on the horizon as it is, regarding form. I think a lot of people are saying Akpom now is 100% a number 9. I don't ever want to see him in the number 10 again. Again, like McAteer, he's not set the world alight so far since he's joined on loan from Ajax. Disappointing that a former Golden Boot winner from the number 10 position for Middlesbrough has only got that one goal so far, no assists. But just because he came on as a number 9 and scored a tap-in at a corner doesn't, for me, suddenly turn him into a number 9. Yes, his link play's not quite been there, the decision-making's not quite been there at times, but I wrote a piece recently that says to me, on the eye test, and this is what Michael Carrick's alluded to, what Kieran McKenna's alluded to when he signed him, is that he's a technically gifted footballer. His touch is his top attribute, his top quality, and I think he needs a run of games in that 10. He had no pre-season at Ajax. He's kind of been in and out of the side. He's not really been able to build any rhythm yet thus far. I'm still hopeful that it's going to come good for Chuba Akpom. Equally with Casey McAteer as well. I still think we're a little bit too early to be writing off those two at the moment. So we'll see how they do tonight. And then Azon up front. It doesn't seem that long ago that everyone was buzzing that he got the goal at Swansea. Popular amongst teammates, clearly popular amongst the fan base, and then he has a slightly sort of quiet game in the 0-0 against Wrexham, and it's almost like he's forgotten man already, and it's Akpom that needs to be the striker. So again, we'll see how Azon does tonight. Bit of freshness at the top end of the pitch will hopefully do Ipswich the world of good tonight. It's not like the previous front four were amazing at Oxford on Friday night, and also it gives the options off the bench tonight, doesn't it? Someone just said to me in the press room just now, is this potentially the most expensive bench in Championship history? Might be, Sindre Vologeli, Championship record signing, Hurst £1.5 million. Jaden Philogene, 20 million quid. Jens Giusta, hefty loan fee there. Ben Johnson was a Bosman free. Furlong 3.5. Jacob Greaves 15. Marcelino Nunez 7.5. That's a strong old bench. And hopefully, Ipswich can cut out the silly mistakes that came back to haunt them at Oxford on Friday, and have gone for a spell of looking a lot more controlled and defensively switched on. Hopefully they can go back tonight, be in the game come the latter stages, and if they're not ahead, at least the bench have got an option, have got the chance to come on and make the difference. So, it's really hard to judge the mood around Ipswich at the moment. I just sense, speaking to a lot of you guys online, in person, with the comments on our website, social media, that the mood is on a real knife edge at the moment, and I think there's multiple reasons for that. Nothing is going to probably beat the highs of that back-to-back promotion. 22 years away. not a lot to cheer about for a decade of that. Then along comes this team that's really relatable, that does it against the odds as underdogs, in style. Nothing's going to match that for a long, long time, and that's going to take a while for us to get our heads around. And the fact that this team hasn't been super fun to watch so far, but I think there's reasons for that. Last time Ipswich did this, they were able to play that swashbuckling style because they were a surprise package, because teams afforded them probably too much respect. Now, they've got a target on their backs. They're the big boys. We're now getting the multi-million-pound tags thrown in Ipswich's direction and facing deep blocks week after week, and that's difficult. That's difficult to break down. And yes, I'm as frustrated as you are at times when I'm watching it, thinking, move the ball quicker. It's possession without a purpose at times. Mix things up a little bit. At times, could the substitutions be made earlier? Possibly. I'm not sure about the kind of change up the tactics, and because I'm not sure what that would look like. I know people talk about at least go 2 up front or do something a little bit different. That's not the issue for me. It's stop giving silly goals away. That was the problem earlier in the season. That was the problem on Friday night. I do think there's enough goals in this team. The second top goal scorer is in the league, lest we not forget, which is not bad for a team by general consensus that hasn't really clicked as an attacking force yet. So, yeah, season on a knife edge. Tonight feels quite important ahead of the games that are ahead, because I think it's going to help set the tone inside Portman Road for the visit of Coventry, who are the one team that look like they might be in danger of getting away from everyone else, certainly Ipswich at the moment. Stoke after that are up there. Win tonight and Ipswich move up to 4th. And then the atmosphere could be great going into Saturday and Wednesday next week. Lose tonight, or certainly it be an underwhelming performance again, and it could just feel a little bit tetchy, a little bit quiet over these next few days, which is not what we need. So, long way to go yet, but in this season. But we do need to see a bit more from Ipswich Town. There's no doubt about that. I want to see a response tonight from Oxford. I'm hoping we get to see it. I'm hoping some narratives around certain players start to change, and we get a little bit of that feel-good factor going again tonight. Live blog, as always, on the EADT and Ipswich Star website, which I will be manning tonight. Sometimes we make that for subscribers only. Tonight we're making that free to consume because the game is on TV. I think it's on Sky Sports Plus. But if you want to follow some live updates, come and join that on the website. Usually that's for subscribers. Our usual plug. Currently we've got our end of year offer on. £6 gets you 6 months coverage. So that will take you through this crucial next period. It will take you through the January transfer window. It will take you to the end of the season. £6. What does that get you? Barely gets you a pint these days. So if you don't already subscribe and you are able to do so and wish to do so, that would really help support what we do. You know the drill now with all the stuff that we produce. My match verdict will be online at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. AJ's player ratings to my right will be up after the match. We've got some more exclusive player interviews lined up along the way, and plenty more besides. I think we'll leave it there unless there's any more. The biggest game since the last one, Ipswich Town at Blackburn Rovers, take 2. I'll see you on the other side. Thanks for joining me.